player on LGD, I was making a big case out of removing POL would change a lot of the power. I feel like Koro's an excellent player, excellent La, excellent carry top laner. I think the team will still have mostly the same sort of form. Amazing J, to be honest, plays a similar sort of style with less resources. It'll be interesting to see if he can rise up to the level of EDG and really find himself a foothold in this team and actually start to be competitive with Koro for a starting spot. We still haven't really seen true squad League of Legends, at least in the LPL. Over in the LCK, you see Easy, Hoon, and Faker really having ups and downs, but in the LPL, Flame and Acorn, the closest to that. Still no real rhyme or rhythm as to which one starts.
No, we'll have to see how it does work out, as EDG are going to start things off on the blue side here for this game. Hecarim's the first ban there. It's a smart one. Kalista joins soon after as well. We actually do have a LeBlanc there, the ban for King. Almost always banned against Pawn, and he hits another ban as well with Azir.
Blue side Hecarim ban, so Amazing J not going to be picking up his most known champion. I think he actually ended up playing more Gnar than Hecarim by the end of the split, but definitely was a pioneer on that Hecarim top.
Was indeed an Amazing J. Pioneered quite a few things in the top side, was one of the best looking players of his old team, Energy Pacemaker, of course, who no longer playing in the LPL this particular season. And we're at the last ban through here for EDG. We've always seen strong picks and bans from this side, and with a new lineup here, especially at least for game number one, be curious to see what else they can mix into the roster, as Vladimir is actually the final ban.
Feels like King are almost priced into 3 mid lane bans. Cassiopeia makes it through picks and bans. Not even the skill matchup of Azir available. You have to say the Rek'Sai looks pretty tasty though, so might have to be the first pick, but not many answers to Cassiopeia, as Amazing J, another one of our analysts, Spawn smiling somewhere. But Rek'Sai, you think you have to pick it up as the first pick?
I think so too, but look, Amazing J having some fun, smiling here in his first game on top talent here in China on EDG. Has played Garen last season in competitive, so don't write it off just yet, but it is going to be Rek'Sai first pick for Clearlove.
And you know he wants to debut something. Teleport, Ignite, Hecarim, outside just a few teams in the world, kind of left the scene. It's all about Teleport Smite now, so he needs to really debut something different as Cola flashes the game.
Yeah, there's a Teemo hovering there as well. King going to consider a couple other picks. Maokai actually already locks in for Cola, and Gragas would be a fine answer in the jungle for Huey.
A lot of power coming through with the first 2 picks. Maokai very reliable. Cassiopeia is really tantalizing as a pick that's available. I'm sure Pawn plays it. Don't know much about Korn. I think he played it a couple of times. It wasn't really one of his core champions. He had real peaks and troughs of performance, did Korn. Was really trying to push it a bit too far with champions like Lux that he really never managed to look convincing on. When he played the standard, his Ahri in particular was very impressive.
Yeah, Korn's got a really weird champion pool. It's sort of Orianna, Ahri, which are 2 different champions. LeBlanc sort of in the middle there as well. But
I'm worried about Deft and Mako getting Annie and Sivir in
That's
this game.
true, but Sivir is going through. Fizz might actually be the selection. Is locked in there. And that could be Amazing J's Fizz as well. He actually does have it in his last 5 picks.
I don't know, but it's too suspicious, right? Why do you pick Fizz, blind pick early? We know Pawn loves this champion, plays so much Fizz. Even when it doesn't fit the comp, he's like, I'm picking Fizz, guys. It seems to be his way, but it's suspicious to see it that early in the picks of that.
It is indeed, and I don't think we got a talent game from him last season, but we did get a couple Fizz games, including one
we
that he
can't complain about too
on.
much. There was no Shaco, but everything else was around.
That's true. There was some Vegas happening. We got some Dravens as well coming in for Crystal. All sorts of shenanigans here in the LPL as King going to select their next 2 picks. It is Nautilus solution, probably for the bottom lane.
Waiting to see what's left. It's actually quite a big question mark. Amazing Day showing the teleport smite, so I guess we don't know whether to expect a top lane smite Fizz. It's possible.
It is.
Yeah, a lot of questions and no real answers at this present point. They're flashing the Morgana. Could be a Morgana mid for all we know. Annie is available. Be very surprised to see them not go for Sivir.
Oh
Annie,
my god.
it's there.
Varus gets locked in there. That's a champion for Deft from a long time ago.
It's not a
but
champion
it's
for
not a
Deft.
champion for Deft. Exactly. No. That's Pawn's champion, I guess, as Morgana might be able to round things out. Gonna take a bit more time to breathe here. I wonder what Mako's gonna do. I assume he's gonna lock in this Morgana here. Wants a bit more protection for these double carries, but that's a Varus there as their last pick.
I love the fact that, I mean, Morgana, even though she's super flexible, at this point, I has to be going support, you'd imagine. Everyone else, kind of nebulous. It's gonna be Varus mid. Unicorns of Love, of course, famously played this in the EULCS finals. Very, very strong with the buffs towards the arrow, the Q. Much shorter cooldown because when you're channeling it, the cooldown reduction is already affecting at that point. This is actually something that Faker's been practicing in solo queue. I've been watching his stream on the Hide on Bush account, practicing it. Obviously, it's infecting the Korean champion pool. Varus mid can be very, very powerful and has a low item threshold to be relevant. A tier for a bit of mana sustain, getting some armor penetration. The base values are so high on that queue that it can be very, very relevant. And you see a very defensive choice. They're going to go with the Orianna to match the Varus in the mid, the Sivir in the mid. It's going to be Varus, surely.
Look at Defton Pawn, just having some fun there. I think probably have to stop swapping because they need to make sure they're locked in, but should be Varus mid at this point. Colin does last pick his Orianna. I like the cleanse there as well, but Amazing J keeps it in the top side with the Fizz. That's Teleport Smite Fish.
And that was the second most likely thing. I guess Clearlove doesn't really feel like a Fizz jungle player, although his Nidalee was quite decent, so who's to say?
Clearlove will not be questioned.
Yeah, but Fizz literally doesn't farm the jungle very well.
True.
He really can only gank and then just be a bit sad when it comes to the jungle, especially now that the AP changes have come through and you can't really go for the same on-hit build with the same levels of power. But this is a crazy draft from EDG.
This is actually the same matchup that Zatai picked into and just destroyed Maokai.
Now, usually you'd want Ignite, actually. Teleport Ignite would be more reliable, but obviously going to be picking up a jungle item as far as we can tell. Pawn in the mid lane. This is a champion that could really see some play.
Yep.
It's very similar to AP Kog'Maw in the fact that those max range arrows are off the vision chart. You don't even see them coming unless you have a lane ward, so they can be super powerful. Very defensive supporters. Annie available, but not selected by Maker.
I think just needs to protect some of these squishy carries. There's lots of diving that's going to be coming in. I actually love that the Sivir complements the Varus as well. EDG, it looks strange, but it's really smart drafting.
And honestly, Clearlove needs to go full Clearlove. We coined the Clearlove as going Cinderhulk and buying lots of health. He's the only one who can do it.
Well, we'll see if they can do it because Varus is in the house. Let's get into game number 1. And a welcome back to a pause, unfortunately, for our final series here, but a beautiful thing to freeze frame on there. Pawn playing Heartseeker Varus in the mid lane for EDG's first game. You challenged Amazing J to mix it up in the top lane. We wondered if EDG might be up to some shenanigans, and Papa Smithy, your prayers have been answered.
If there's one thing you can say about Amazing J, it's expect shenanigans.
Yes.
He is the shenanigan man, whether it was the Teleport Ignite that we thought, okay, I don't understand this no flash, no ghost Hecarim. He made it work. It revolutionized Hecarim play around the world. Moved on to a new meta. Smite's what it's all about. I assume it's still going to be Cinderhulk coming through from Amazing J, but there's no guarantees.
No, and there's Pawn looking very majestic there in the mid lane. Very pretty there with his little angel wings. And there's a Crystalline Flask because, of course, it's Pawn. He always starts Flask.
And look, Doran Blade is a decent choice, but the mana sustain is the big issue. It's a very high base mana cost coming onto your queue, and it's on such a low cooldown as the Chroma, again, looking very majestic. Is Amazing J. It's Pokerina time.
Good binding there. Pawn as well coming through. Al not paying attention. Gets over the wall with the E. No one follows in with a flash, but Lucian chunked out early.
And Al actually not having to skill, only having to skill E, not even having to flash. That's the minimum you'd expect in this situation.
Depth looking. Mako almost gets the binding, but a good block there by Sync Dream means that Lucian does get back safety, but that was very scary.
Wow. But I mean, the fact that he didn't even have to flash or heal showed on the one side, the fact, the option of skilling the Relentless Pursuit was very adept. Good thing he didn't skill that Q for a bit of power early. But more importantly, just a bit of confidence to understand the situation, know the limits, know how much damage all the abilities being thrown at you do, and not panic flash heal.
Yeah, EDG not committing either. No summoners used anywhere actually after that. Just a couple of level 1 spells exchanged. So Korn will settle into the mid lane. Down the bottom, it seems like we will have standard lanes. And Amazing J currently doing the wolf camp for himself as well.
Amazing J, he always pushes the envelope. Very intrigued to see what is the jungle choice. You have to imagine Sindog. It's hard to pick up, hard to pass up. But then are we going to expect a full tank? Fizz, is he still going to go the on-hit build despite the fact that the W changes were about trying to eradicate that playstyle? Lots of questions. Magus is not a bad enchant to pick up at all. Very gold efficient. But we'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed. No AP runes, I can tell you, at least on the Fizz. So might be looking for more of that Bruiser style. Pawn in the mid side. Just going to approach Korn here. And again, this matchup, I mean, Varus in general, always been a strong laner in the bottom side. That does hold true in mid as well.
And the irony is that it's not till level 9 that Orianna has instant mid wave clear. By then, if you channel up your arrow, it actually does quite a lot of wave clearing himself. The damage at bottom.
Oh, Def, very smart stuff.
Oh.
One last auto gets the kill, and EDG's duo have seen it time and time again. They are so aggressive.
Yeah, he moves on to Morgana, but same sort of playstyle. Ping level 2, instant all-in. The bindings hit razor sharp, and Sync Dream, there's nothing he can do.
I don't think Mako's missed a binding so far, and Mako and Def starting out on the foot that they just left off on after MSI. They don't 2v2 that often, but when they do, this is what happens.
Absolutely. Now, Pawn has wave control in mid. You mentioned it right towards the tail end of the pick ban. Fizz is a very strong laning matchup against the Maokai. A lot of kill pressure coming through. Whatever the build you go through, just get some points into that W, and the trades Maokai just can't deal with. You're winning bottom lane, you got pressure in mid, you got a strong ganking jungler. Feels like an EDG game.
It does indeed, and Clearlove happily farming while his lanes do some winning for him, so he's going to be happy. He doesn't need to get too aggressive with the ganks, and I have to say, for a lot of early ganking that Clearlove did last season at the start of it, he's really toned down because he just has so much faith in his laners.
And the meta changed as well. He was playing champions like Lee Sin on patch 5.4 and just had to be really assertive. But he just doesn't have to do that anymore. The Cinderhulk meta changes thing a bit. It's still more proactive than kind of the Clearlove we talk about with more negative tones when it comes to being really passive and just not impacting the lanes, being invisible but not playing Evelynn, if you know what I mean. He's been a lot better than that, and you can see some aggression coming out into Huey. Looked to contest for the Scuttle Crab, but too late.
Yeah, couldn't get it, but did smite actually that has a Stalker's Blade done already, so able to get some good damage down, but no kill forthcoming there over onto Huey, so we'll keep his double buffs just for now as Sync Dream trying to get a couple wards down here and there as Pawn actually trying to zone Orianna, but Korn doing a great job so far keeping competitive in CS.
575 range. Orianna doesn't have that many pushing options, doesn't have the short cooldowns on command attack to really go through multiple rotations. Ours level 2 and really needs help.
Yeah, we can see Deft was not a lane bully early on in his career, but has evolved in China to really become both a dominant team fighter and a dominant laner. And this is the matchup you can see. I think Mako helps a lot there, but Deft, when he smells blood, he just keeps you trapped forever.
Yeah, I don't want to really focus too much on the support. Deft's definitely picked up, but Mako, man, what a improvement he has been over Mouse at the start of last season. It was ever since they lost that match against Snake 2-0 with Mouse, they changed the support. We didn't know anything about Mako, a pure rookie. But the amount of a controlled aggression that Mako brings out the best in Deft.
Yeah, doesn't need his Annie right now, and Deft going to continue harassing under turret, clearing out minion waves as best he can. It's 39-19 in the bottom side, so 20 CS ahead already.
And just looking to pick up the freeze once again. No, just happy to push. They had the freeze option. There was multiple levels advantage coming through from Sivir. But Sivir happy to just wave clear, to increase the pressure. It opens up a lot of space for Clearlove to do work, but Clearlove doing what he does best. Passively farm.
I mean, the nice thing is that Clearlove can go and take jungle from Huey now because every one of his lanes is pushed up as well. So first gank going to come down to the bottom side. Huey will visit to get some pressure down, but the ward will spot them off, and EDG will put their vision back down. 6 minutes in, we've already had a kill, and look, 1,000 gold up already.
That's a massive lead. The 400 gold from the first spot, but 600 just from the farming in the bottom lane especially. King doing everything they can to relieve pressure off this ward, and the jungler has to show Clearlove's in the area.
Yeah, Mako wants to use that Black Shield, does nail the binding on to Sync Dream. Clearlove comes in, Prey Seeker does land, not quite enough damage as Deft is chasing him, but they'll get the pink ward instead, and Nautilus going to be forced out of the lane once more.
Just so much more pressure coming out from Deft with the pickaxe. It's pickaxe against just a Doran Blade, which is a massive advantage. And Clearlove, he can counter jungle, he can passively farm. Varus is even just straight up winning this mid lane matchup. Everything going well for EDG.
Yeah, Skirmisher Saber just completed for Amazing J as well, so he's got that first part of his jungle item. With the Ruby Crystal, have to imagine it is a Cinderhulk coming through, so I think at least going to be the start of maybe Bruiser Fizz here. Bruiser
Fizz was target nerfed, but it's still just fine. The big difference, the big change they did is that on the Seastone Trident W, the original change to kind of nerf AP Fizz was to move the on-hit damage to the passive and the % health damage to the active. So what that caused was that without having to use the spell, i.e. permanently, you could do that on-hit max W build and get lots of good trade damage in with auto. So you prioritize attack speed and other, Triforce and other auto-attack based builds. Whereas now, moving the percentage health damage to the W incentivizes just poking because the % health damage doesn't require attack speed to be relevant. It took away the AD build. Huey's coming in.
Deft coming in, good spell shield and Black Shield there coming through. Actually, even Maokai here trying to get a gank. Walked down to lane. Didn't even teleport because, he's in the top side farming. Would rather 1v1 the skirmisher Saber Fizz than stick in this lane any longer.
Very interesting to see, and there's a lot of kill pressure that's going to come through from Amazing J, even though he hasn't built any attack damage items or doesn't have any ability power. I don't think he's been Sin, so he's lying and lining up his praise. Only level 4.
Yes, Amazing J's level 7, does have the ulti. Now level 5, but that might not be enough here at this stage. Lucian has to be careful sticking the creep wave, and Amazing J buys enough time but decides he's not worth the brush gang and just goes back to farming. And
just to complete the thought on the change to Bruiser Fizz, with the changes now, because you don't have permanent on-hit damage, now that on-hit damage is only during the, I believe, 5-second uptime on the Seastone Trident, you just get less of that on-hit damage in, therefore you do less trade damage. It really promotes the burst playstyle with AP rather than the AD, but it doesn't completely trivialize Bruiser Fizz.
No, I mean, Fizz is just so sticky and so annoying that you can just get on a carry and make their life miserable, especially with Skirmisher Saber acting as almost a mini exhaust pawn. Looking good there as well. Pickaxe actually with a tier, so I believe that's Manamune coming through.
It will definitely be Manamune. It's the standard build is Manamune into armor penetration. You don't really need more AD on top of that. Of course, you'll build it just to amplify your poke damage. It's just the cooldowns just get so obnoxious. Maybe Black Cleaver will be the build as a consideration. Although, again, you're more about long-range poke, so when you're going for poke, you want more the flat penetration than the stacking penetration. But it's an option, because CDR, armor penetration, that's what you're all about as mid lane Varus.
Pawn looking good right now. Decent CS lead, but Colin will catch up. As you can see, the poke just missing there for Pawn.
Yeah, not a very wide skill shot, so you definitely have to be on point. But with how short the cooldown is, with the cooldown refresh mechanic, plenty of Qs going to come out.
You can see even Sync Dream could be in trouble. Hook does land, though. Good shockwave there for Con. Barriers down as well. Clearlove's going to join the party. Teleports in as well. Clearlove now going to have to back away. Great ulti there by Huey, going to move him back in. And Clearlove still alive, gets a knock up there. Black Shield for Mako as well. Will keep him alive for just a bit longer. Flash Auto is going to give Korn the kill, though. And Clearlove finally caught out of position.
And crucially, double buffs as far as I can tell. Red buff was riding to complement the blue buff that Korn already picked up. Maybe a re-engage.
Mako is level 6, but doesn't want to pull the trigger on the ulti just yet. No one quite low enough there to go in, and the target they caught too tanky, unfortunately. So no extra kills or rotation, maybe for a turret, but Poke going to come through for Pawn as well. Decent siege actually here from EDG.
I mean, look, it's 280 carries effectively at this point, although Pawn won't be really traditional, so the standing damage won't be as strong. The wave clear and the turret damage is very high.
Yeah, looking good there as they're going to mow down the mending waves here. Deft actually doesn't even have the turret in bottom lane, would just rather pick up the mid lane turret right now for his team. So a smart rotation after a bit of a scuffle. Clearlove die, but they get the mid turret.
And look, Control Mages not having a turret to go back to makes them very, very gankable. Clearlove can have his tail between his legs a little bit, having died and given away the kill. Is still going to have many, many angles to burrow in as Rek'Sai, look for the kill in mid. Between the knock-up on the unburrow and the Chain of Corruption coming through from Pawn, there's a lot of kill pressure onto this Orianna.
You see Lucian still up here as well, but Amazing J still ahead by 2 levels here, so Lucian does have to respect the all-in potential from the Fizz. We've got a pickaxe and a BF sword with the Avarice Blade there for Def, so everyone going for this quick Avarice Blade on their Sivir, it seems like. Manamune Longsword done there for Pawn, and other than that, Cinderhawk now completed for Clearlove.
It's a snowball choice going for the Avarice Blade. When you're already winning, either when you buy an early-ish Avarice Blade, you're either buying it because you've given up on lane, you want to pick up as much gold as possible passively, or you're winning by so much that you can get everything, basically. It's the old GP10 effect, and it works great.
I mean, I think with Sivir especially, given that she just wants to hoover up mending waves for quite a while, it does add up quite nicely. So I like the pick up here. I've seen Crystal and all the other Sivir players today and yesterday do it, so makes sense here. And we can see a dragon actually snuck completely away by Clearlove. So quick, the camera couldn't catch it.
There's just no pressure whatsoever on the bottom side. The top lane has already moved. Mako's going for the kill, because of course no one else on this side of the map for King.
Flash not enough. That Clearlove coming through. Teleports down there as well. Knockup does come in. Def's already here, and that's a clean kill. Mako, lovely initiation.
Don't really think they needed the teleport, you'd have to think. Amazing J leaves top. I guess he was just relegated to the fact that he was probably going to have to watch the turret go down in bot. They're going to, at minimum, get this turret in mid, and they just keep pushing across the map.
And you can see we've got Cinderhawk completed now for Amazing J, so does opt for that jungle item. Amplifying Tome probably indicates a Sheen to me, so maybe going for a Trinity Force somewhere along the way, but remains to be seen what Fizz does want to do from the top lane.
That Cleaver doesn't make much sense on Fizz, given they doesn't do very much physical damage outside of just sheer auto attacks, so Trinity Force is probably what you're priced into. honestly, the best thing I can say about the Fizz choice in this situation is it's going to fulfill a similar result to the Trundle versus Maokai matchup in that it makes Maokai very honest in a 1v1 split pushing sense, but definitely not an ideal pick. A bit of out-of-the-box thinking. Amazing J style through and through.
It is. I mean, it's his first game of the season on his new team. He's coming in for the first game on the starting roster. Better mix it up on Amazing Day, because that's what you and the fans and probably your team want.
The fan support will definitely be there for Amazing J. Doesn't play boring champions like Gnar or anything meta. Garen and Fizz.
He does play Gnar actually, but also Garen and Fizz. That's what makes him special. As Huey does eat a binding there from Morgana. Mako on the point with these skill shots here from this champion. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet so far. Def just going to re-rotate here and try and take more structures.
I actually like the fact that he's moved away from the Annie. Speaking of damage, my goodness.
Oh, that is damage there onto both of them actually, as Al gets the culling down Def. Again, just face tanks a chunk of it there, so a bit too aggressive perhaps, but clearly rotating in as well means they really want to take these turrets.
Showing them Morgana makes sense for comp. As you mentioned, they have Varus, Sivir, who both are very, very squishy backliners. But honestly, in general, the Annie's being nerfed next patch. Okay, attack range is not going to change her main function in skirmishes, but will change her laning phase. Just keep practicing these other champions. Move on to your repertoire. There was never any doubt that Mako could play Morgana, but Annie only or Annie priority might not be the way after the change to attack range.
Be interesting to see what happens here as Def keeps cleaning up minion waves. Infinity Edge has been completed now as well, so very strong in this particular lane. And you can see King are bringing up Huey constantly to the top side of the map as well, just trying to defend what at this point looks like an inevitable 3v3, possibly even a Clear Love special turret dive.
Clear Love's very, very tanky already. Doesn't have the giant spell to his name. No early Warmogs like MLXG in the previous game, but still very, very strong and able to just disregard the jungle control of Huey. Usually we're talking about Gragas being able to outpressure or match a Rek'Sai. Definitely not the case this game.
No, not at all, as Point continues to farm up there. 128 to 121. Lots of farm there for those mid laners. Clear Love going to take away the Raptors now as well, so sort of a similar look. And that gold lead stacking up quite quickly already. 4,500 gold for EDG. Maybe make it 5.5 there as they get a turret gold down as well. And that's the 3 outers already done. Looking an awful lot like some old Corki games.
The fast push meta without Corki, I was going to say myself, is super surprising to see, especially when it's not like they went very obnoxious win lane, win game champion. Sure, Fizz is favorable against Maokai, but definitely doesn't have pushing choices in that lane. It usually just evolves with item pickups that he has kill pressure. Varus versus Orianna. Orianna should be able to match a little bit better than the matchup went, but it went about as expected. It's just EDG just throwing pedal to the metal, going really, really aggressive. 3 outer turrets at 15 minutes is a great clip, and they're not going to stop here.
No, that Dragon actually going to be coming up in a couple minutes as well. EDG already have the first, going to look to snowball and get the second, and we've seen this from them all spring split. Get ahead, start to snowball the objectives, take out the turrets, and just take over the map.
Yeah, flat armor penetration picked up with the Brutalizer. Patch 5.8, so I believe, yeah, Black Cleave, of course, has been changed, so only Yomu's Ghostblade, probably not even going to be evolved at any point, just going to stick with the Brutalizer. CDR boots, maybe a Bloodthirster if he's feeling threatened, and then just straight into the last
Clear Love coming in, Mako actually good ulti onto Cole, the tether does stay, stun comes in, Def with the damage, and Maokai does get felled for Def's 3rd kill of the game.
And no one is tanky to 3 members at 16 minutes into the game, so easy to dive even onto the usually super tank Maokai. They're going to keep pushing. Sync Dream and Al are able to pick up the turret and bot.
Going to get the turret, but Al might be in trouble. Fish does land.
Fish.
Amazing J. Very nice skill shot there. Skirmisher Saber down as well. Culling fade away there, but Amazing J kills him with the dot damage, maxing that W, and gets a double kill, 1v2.
1v2 action by the debuting Amazing J. No stranger to the LPL, but probably a stranger to double kills on Fizz 1v2.
Looking good there. The Shin doing a lot of work there. Skirmisher Saber with the challenging smite, also hurting Al, who's just been caught so far behind this game. Just look down at the CS as Pawn almost takes away a mid turret for himself as well. Pawn, by the way, usually roaming with his team, just happily farming in the mid so far, has not left.
And look, there's been no time in the last few months where you haven't been excited to be an EDG fan. Suddenly seeing an impressive performance on a new pick like Amazing J on Fizz, more reasons to get excited for EDG, because if they can be strategic about how they play their 2 top-tier top laners, which Amazing J still has to prove to some degree, but it has always had the potential to evolve into a very strong top laner, more flexibility for a team that's already excelled on the world stage is an exciting place to be.
It is indeed, and I think growing that team into a squad is the important thing for EDG. We saw some of their subs, we saw you play. Things are a bit different now, so solidifying that roster, giving them more options, and honestly just giving your players potentially time for breaks, especially if Pawn maybe hopefully doesn't get injured again. There's some skill shots coming through, but Deft and Mako sit on top of a wall. They'll clear it out, because Dragon, it's back alive.
Dragon's alive. I just don't know how you can fight for it if your king is 6,500 plus gold behind. Amazing J not group, but has teleport available. There's the Rek'Sai, so the first global's used, and we're just waiting to see if they have enough pressure to actually force Fizz into using his teleport.
And great timing here as well. Pawn actually got blue buff as Korn. Takes a big chunk of damage. Sync Dream looks for a hook, doesn't find it, eats an arrow instead, and Pawn, he is just chugging these arrows out.
Yeah, but the cooldown's so low. It doesn't have a lot of mana, though. Only the mana regen, waiting for the Chain of Corruption.
Amazing J coming in. Dragon is going to go over to someone. No, they just fight instead. Nautilus goes down to Amazing J as he dives in. Ow! Gets wrecked by Fizz, and Amazing J gets a double. Huey nowhere near to secure the Dragon. Clearlove, no depth, just goes over and auto-attacks it instead. And EDG is still team fighting well. That's going to be 4 kills as Korn gets caught. Cleanse does not work, unfortunately, there. Is going to be safe for a bit longer. Clearlove looks for the Prey Seeker, misses, but does get the kill.
I just don't understand why King were looking to fight in that particular objective. Maybe send 1 or 2 members to try to go for a very, very optimistic steal. And speaking of optimism, Huey's dead.
Late ace here. Does get smite as well. Amazing J going to get his 3rd kill of the exchange as that dot damage doesn't even dive in. It's just so much work.
When they announced Amazing J on the roster, you saw the reason for it. It's a bit more flexibility. I think the first reaction had to be a bit of puzzlement. Koro's very, very good, and Amazing J's team was bad, but he always had those flashes of brilliance, and it's often been the case that players can step up from teams that aren't performing well and just play with so much more confidence and ability when they can really take the shackles off on a top team like EDG, and Amazing J's fitting in just fine.
He is, and as I said, the thing that he does bring over Koro is more of that carry potential. Koro can play Cassidy, he can play Hecarim, but he's mostly on Maokai, Nas, sometimes Rumble duty, very utility, team fight focused. Amazing J brings the top Fizz, plays the Garen. He's more of a carry style player. He was that on Energy Pacemaker last season, and maybe here again on EDG.
I won't quite go to your extent, because I believe Koro is a very strong carry player. The thing that Amazing J brings, you're scouting against EDG. You know all about the Na, you know all about the top picks. You ban out Koro, you get him in a bad position. Somehow, miraculously, you get that win over EDG. EDG throw in Amazing J. There is no playbook that tells you what Amazing J is going to play. I'm not even convinced Amazing J knows what Amazing J is going to play. That guy can play off-meta picks. That guy can innovate with the likes of Teleport Ignite. And having that wild card on your team makes your squad that much stronger.
It does, as Mako does hit a Shockwave. Nautilus ult as well. Deft going to try and save him. Varus ult does miss there, but Clearlove diving straight in. Culling goes in and chunks out Deft, but Clearlove still going. Amazing J just diving into the backlands now as well. Vicious Sync Dream, good hook to keep him safe, but 1 kill down already. Clearlove chasing out, gonna just dive into the turret and try and take him out. Amazing J gonna go in instead, gets the double, then the triple, and this fish is doing business.
8-0 legendary on his first outing is Amazing J. Man, EDG still pretty good.
Still really good here. 10,000 gold, maybe 12,000 gold at this point. Ahead already. Going to go in for a Baron. It's an early one. I would normally call it an EDG Baron, but when you're this far ahead, it's just a standard Baron.
Absolutely. They're just so far ahead. They got no health, but it doesn't matter. Deft's going to have to do a bit of tanking. Pawn reluctantly might have to as well, but it's going to be a free Baron. King aren't even in the same area code as EDG as a team or for this Baron, and it's an easy one for EDG.
Yeah, and King struggling here with a couple of substitutes moving through now as well. Not a whole lot left in the tank, unfortunately, for them. And EDG, known for closing out games with ruthless efficiency. We saw in the last series, took both M3 and RNG maybe a little longer than we expected to close out games once they were ahead. But EDG, they are not a team to let go of a lead. Once they have it, they run straight to the finish line with it as Pawn.
Nope.
Doesn't quite steal away the red buff, but a good try.
Yeah, he made very optimistic, but a good try. Very high base damage on that. So Amazing J finds another kill.
Finds Sync Dream. That's his 9th kill of the game. Gonna go back in here, potentially diving in. Shockwave does clip him there. Amazing J needs playful tricks to back. Does use it, but it's not enough as Death diving back in with the help of the Baron buff. Mako coming in as well. Clearlove trying to avenge his new teammate. Black Shield keeps Death safe. Flushes forward. Spell Shield goes in onto our 1v3. Is gonna die, but Mako will lock in. Gets the ulti. There's the 2 kills that actually coming through. Korn going to get chased down now as well. Needs to dodge a skill shot, but will do. No, not quite. Clearlove is going to tunnel in. Good cleanse there from Korn as Clearlove now caught well and truly out of position. Has to walk out of the base, and it's a 2 for 2, but doesn't really matter.
Yeah, EDG are just having fun. 16-3 is your kill score. Pawn's able to bring up the minion line. He's a ranged auto attacker. Not quite an AD carry per se, definitely an AD caster with the build I predicted. This is basically standard Power of Evil style Varus. Faker's trying it, Pawn's breaking it out. There's no reason it won't come into the meta page time, because although it doesn't always have the strongest laning, especially in the early levels, the fact that you can do 500-600 damage out of vision unpredictably is always going to make a champion viable. It's why AP Kog'Maw always comes in and out of the meta depending on the champion pool and how many assassins have his name tattooed on their forehead. And Varus is just a new one to add to the pool.
Yeah, great to see here. Unfortunately, the bad news here for Pawn's Varus is we haven't really got to see it in action. It's been all about Def's early aggression with Mako, Clearlove being Clearlove, and Amazing J's debut on EDG at 9-1-1. We'll be sad to have the Def, but what a breakout performance here on his new team.
Absolutely. I guess it's surprising to some degree just because of his previous team's fortunes, but we always saw the flashes of brilliance, and if they can start to cement into more extended periods of brilliance and again help the squad, because you have to think Koro will still be the lead top laner for this team. It's just another thing. Adding squad League of Legends to what was already a winning 5 is impressive.
Yeah, Mako goes down there to Cole. A bit of a missing edge by EDG. Pawn, good ulti there onto Huey, lands in, and that's going to be another kill. Kola going to go down. That's 2 actually now, as it's 2 for 1. Amazing J diving in once out. Going to try and find him, just missing, I believe, with the Urchin Strike getting out of range. Double kill though for Siva. Korn maybe going to get dove as well. Pawn doing massive damage. Amazing J dives into the back line with the playful Trickster. That's 4 kills for 2. The jungler and support dead, but EDG just keep the train rolling.
Double AD carries, the turrets will fall very, very quickly. 24 minutes into the game. It's actually surprising that the fact that the death timers are quite as long as they are, but it's going to be at minimum an inhibitor turret for EDG.
I think the death timers have more to do with just how many kills they're getting consecutively. Inhib does not fall, but the bottom lane inhibitor turret will go with it. Dragon is back alive. If that's something EDG decide they also need in this game, but you look down the inventories on the left and there are so many items in them.
And that's just the reality. Staggered death time has been the reason why we see some of them looking a bit longer. The fights are just going, they're not fights, let's be real. It's just skirmishes happening between very, very powerful, 2,000 gold on average ahead. I mean, 16,500 gold is the lead. It's just disgusting.
It is disgusting, and EDG picking on where they left off at the start of the season here, maybe with some new picks, a new player in there as well, but still looking just about the same sort of team, all class, all hype, and well deserved after their victory at MSI, looking good in their first game of the LPL, or their new LPL season.
And I can only speculate from a King perspective, maybe it's a visa issue, because of course the 2 Korean players, very notable, aren't in. From what I understand, this roster and these whole changes by the Royal Organization came quite late into the picture, so maybe they're just not ready to go at this point. But look, EDG's maybe not the best acid test for a team first up. I mentioned it before. Like, they were always going to get outclassed whatever lineup they fielded, I would speculate. There's going to need to be more time to cement. It'll be interesting to see if this is the same roster for King 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, well, indeed. Maybe even the next game, depending on who is available to play. But right now, it is all EDG all the time. Deft is on some sort of solo mission down in the bottom side because he doesn't have too much to worry about with plenty of good wards. Amazing Day has a Blade of the Ruin King because sure, why not? He's a Jax player. He wants to go to the Jax pistol.
It's the old Trinity Force into Blade of the Ruin King build. That part's very standard about top lane fizz. The Smite, that's new. The fact that it's still being played after the changes, that's new as well. But it's still very, very effective.
Yeah, making it work here. 11-1-1. That Inhib looking to fall down here. Depth aggressively forward. Point even going to come in. In fact, he's not even auto-attacking. He's busy trying to poke people with his Q.
With a short cooldown with CDR boots, there's no real need to auto-attack. Deft will do all the heavy lifting on that one. And it's just arrow after arrow.
Yeah, Pawn going to fire them in here. One hell of a siege going to be set up now by EDG. And they might even just dive in. Binding almost hits their big poke there into Pawn. They are going to try and fight Will King, but Huey far too low already as Deft gets himself his 6th kill of the game. Amazing Day tries to launch a fish at Al, but he does escape it. But they're going to tank up the turret. Shockwave is available, but too hard to try and get a kill here. Everyone's scattered out nicely, and that's another inhibitor down.
Shockwave's a complete non-factor. There's no second AP item when the damage really starts going, or the utility. Caught between a Luden's Echo and just a Death Cap with those 2 purchases, the Blasting one and the Aether, where King are just watching, King are watching the clock, and there's nothing they can do.
They're dragging up in a minute 10. Flash forward there by Korn. Signals the end of the game as King